After 20 years in the editor's chair, what made you want to write your own novel?
I think if you're a magazine editor, probably a newspaper editor too, you're always working with other people. What you do is you're like a conductor, you're sort of pulling other people's work together. So the idea of doing your own book where it's just you sort of talking to you seemed both exciting and appealing.
Which of the three heroines of Can We Still Be Friends do you most identify with?
Well, of the three heroines of the book, I reckon there's a little bit of me in all of them, but probably the one I feel most like me is Annie, who's the sort of the one who longs for a kind of a marriage and a domesticated existence and loves clothes and a nice home. That's probably the closest to me.
You were in journalism in the 1980s, just as Sal in the book is. What was it like working in that industry at that time? And how's it changed?
Well, newspaper journalism in the 1980s was going through a huge period of change because it was a move away from Fleet Street and the traditional methods of printing to a whole new kind of Murdoch-driven British press. So it was a very volatile and exciting place to be. There were still relatively few women compared to men in it. It was filled with sort of camaraderie and fun, a very heavy drinking culture. I think that journalists then were real kind of, there was a kind of cowboy mentality as well, a bit of the Wild West.
You're known first and foremost as the editor of a fashion magazine, but this novel is in no way a fashion book. Did you intentionally move away from that world for your first novel?
Because I work in fashion all the time, when I thought about writing a novel, I was very clear that I didn't want to write about fashion, partially because fashion as an industry, I think you can deal with better as fact than you can as fiction, and I wanted to write fiction, and partially because one of the reasons for wanting to do the book was to sort of to have another life, to spend time with a different part of me, which I wouldn't have been able to do if I was writing a book involving fashion.
In the novel, there's a great scene where Sal is shopping for a smart work outfit to add to the veneer of professionalism. How important do you think it is to dress for work?
I think what people wear tells you an enormous amount about the person, and it's almost the quickest semaphore you can give to somebody about something about yourself, even if that's to say, I don't care how I look. So it's always a good idea to think that what you're wearing is going to give out a message. Nowadays, the ideas of kind of professional dressing have probably changed quite a lot from the 80s. Certainly at the point I was writing about, that idea of the kind of the power suit was becoming a very kind of potent symbol of success in the workplace.
If you were able to give just one piece of advice to your 20-year-old self, what would it be?
If I could talk to my 20-year-old self, I would probably say, worry less and be happy more.